Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Glad to see that everyone made it through the holiday weekend safely. And I made it through the weather last night, so we're doing good. Okay, first is to review and approve the agenda, and there is an addition that has been added, so it'd be a revised agenda.
Yes, I will move to approve.
I'll second.
And Ross, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. On to consent items.
I'll move.
Warren,
Second.
seconded by Gary. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, on to the issue form. Warren,
Okay, we had the water district workshop and whatever, but I got a ton of notes here. I'll try to skim through them. The other page first. Okay, they were talking about the groundbreaking for the climax to Hillsborough, and anyway, in September there's groundbreaking for that. It would be for the line getting into Halstead coming from Hillsborough, and then also climax is on this note here too, but I don't remember what that was about. Anyway, on the finance part, they've had all kinds of fund removal or approvals now, so they've got money to pay $327,000 worth of 2 years of back pay to the engineer and to the legal. So they're paid up at this point, which is strange. They were running unpaid there for 2 years, and funding that's been approved or is in place at this point is 3.5 million in EPA earmark, and another 760,000 in another EPA earmark, and 2.7 million in one earmark that's pending, plus state bonding of 5 million. So there's lots of money to work with just to get everything going. The line to Neilsville is in design stage, and construction should happen next summer. Well, then concerning Climax, they have 1.65 million invested. They floated a bond for that. They are going to be repaid for all of their investment to this point, and the debt service will be taken over. So the debt service will become a part of the water charge that Climax pays, not something else. But and that loan is a pretty good one. It's 1.3%. So it's,
oh geez.
and it's a 40-year loan, so it goes on for a while. And but the comment throughout the whole time was that they would be paid their fair share. So that's good for them. And then as far as connections, the project will pay for the line to the property line of this person, and then they would have to assume it from there.
Great.
And there is a way to where they can get financing that they could pay back on tax assessments. So it looks like, I don't know exactly how that all works, but it sounded pretty favorable.
It sounds like that, from what you just said, then nearly 12 million, 11.96.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. for starting.
Yeah, good start.
Yeah. It was, it seems like there's been lots of support for it at every level of government, so that looks good. And we'll have another work session again next month. We went, into middle of the afternoon, so it went from 8:30 a.m. to then. It was a long day but very informative. All right,
That's it?
that's enough. The rest of it was,
Oh, I thought it was gonna be a lot more than that, but
well,
that's good. Paul,
Very quiet. Other than the fair coming up, I've been at the fair almost nonstop for 2 weeks. That's it.
I imagine that's a busy time.
It's coming. Yeah, we're just about there though.
yeah, it sneaks up on you sometimes. Gary,
Well, it's quite a weekend, 250-year birthday
Oh.
celebration.
yeah,
I'm even more proud of being American and even a Polk County Commissioner.
Yeah.
But we're reminded that freedom isn't free. And to see some of the veterans in their hundreds,
Yeah.
there and still sharp, and what they've done,
Mhm.
and proud of the three of you, Paul, Warren, and Ross, have served military service. Appreciate it. That's how we got there.
Yeah, there was actually one of the news stations I was watching for the fireworks in DC, and it was a veteran that I think he was 104.
There was one 107.
107.
Yeah, but I think it was the one that was 104. But he's saying God bless America.
Oh yeah, he did. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and I
watched
mean
that.
it was just.
Yep.
He did
Amazing
wonderful.
individuals.
Yeah, I mean,
107-year-old was walking.
oh yeah, I mean, oh gosh,
But he was a Medal of Honor winner.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's amazing that how well some of those veterans are still doing yet, and but yeah, Ross,
No, I did go to the planning and zoning meeting and was very interesting. And there was a few, I don't know what you want to call permits or
Mhm.
stuff, and there was some discussion on a couple, and no, it was that was a good one to go to. I did get some calls and concerns about the Aluma fraud thing that became public, um, and the
Me too.
county's involvement in that,
Me too.
and so. I don't know if that's something we discuss in the future, but that's it for me.
I guess I have not heard anything about that.
There was a
Medicare fraud
Medicare fraud, but the company that the county,
from Aluma, one of
it
the
was in the Herald. And
One of their providers.
one of the
Providers, right?
yes, she
Employees.
were employees, but she provides services and is a Medicare defrauded Medicare
Mm.
through Aluma.
I just heard about it before I left, and I got an email from Greg. He's gonna come and explain it to me because it's like I hadn't heard this at all.
Yeah, I wasn't very pleased when I read it and everything. I think it's something we need to look at very closely here.
It just seems like fraud is a hot topic, and
Mhm.
and very rightfully so. No, I got some calls and concern, wondering the county's involvement with that company and stuff, and yep. So
And I know we have them in several different parts, whether Polk County or social services. So it just brings up a red flag in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, all of these things are difficult, but like you mentioned, everybody is, really digging in and looking for, um, those fraud things. But kind of like with some of these providers, because this was when I had the DAC meeting last week, I think it was, or the week before, and one of the ladies on the board, you know, um, is the director of a service provider, and something that they had, there was one thing that they had left out on a form, and they got knocked out of getting reimbursements. It's just they're any little thing that they see. I mean, it's so in some ways they're kind of going a little overboard, because then it really takes a long time for them to then actually, you know, um, produce the correct stuff to say, oh, we have no issues going on. It was just, a mistake, was nothing to do with numbers or anything like that. So, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah, they had a total amount for her, a specific amount that she defrauded.
Yeah, I always try and find the good in people. Anything else then?
Nope.
That was it? Okay. Well, as usual, I've had my math bus subcommittees, the workforce and the case review. I had meetings last week. And then I was also down in St. Paul, had a shack meeting, and that was, we talked about, so the legislature this year now did change the wording of shack to allow tribe membership if they so desire. We've talked about this at public health at our CHB meetings, and that was approved. But now it's like, what does this look like going forward? And I think my main concern is, okay, so we have 11 tribes, recognized tribes within the state of Minnesota, and each one of those tribes does something different, of how they do public health. And, and like granted the CHBs within the state, some do different things, but still it's pretty, kind of set of how you do things. So how this is all going to mesh, I don't know. And also one thing too is where we differ largely is with cannabis, where, public health, we're, providing education and all this, and, the tribes are making money off of the cannabis. So, like I said, I have some concerns about how this is all going to work out, but, it's, at least they're taking it slow and, just inviting membership from the tribes if they want to come, to our meetings or not. So that was kind of the, and then we had a presenter too that talked about private wells and testing, because there's been a lot of issues down in the southwest or southeast part of Minnesota. So there was some talk about what they've been doing down there, and just, like for people with private wells, to have them checked. It's not, it's not that difficult to, like, you can go to your soil and water districts and, get test kits. And so, and then we also did talk about changing our terms of our vice and chair and past chair, because during COVID we switched them to 2 years versus 1 year. So now we're thinking probably about switching them back to each one being a year, because then it's a 3-year commitment versus a 6-year commitment. So, and then had AMC Board of Directors meeting. This for our meeting, our district meetings that we had, all 87 counties were represented in all the districts. So, and I don't know if that's happened before. Like, I know for ours that, like we had a couple counties that were represented by like their administrators, no commissioners, but, still, I mean, every single county was represented. And then we did kind of had an update in regards to SNAP. And I think every time that I get an update, it's worse and worse. Because now with the most recent numbers, what Polk County will have to pay has gone up. That so, but the the big thing is going to be the error rate, and it's going to go by the state versus each county, because there's a lot of counties that have really low error rates. But for 2025, Minnesota's error rate was 12.58%, which puts us then into the top tier for costs that the state and the counties will have to pay, because that puts us into the 15%, which is going to be quite a hit.
That's bad, right?
Yeah, because you want it lower. Because I think
What would be a good number? 5?
yeah.
Okay.
Because well,
What is
actually,
our county?
probably like 3 or 4 would be, because the first tier is 5%, and
Oh,
then it's
see.
10, and then it's
Okay.
15.
All right.
So, but like these, they won't be payable like the first one until the first or the fourth quarter of 2027. So, and then the state will also have the option of, hopefully the 26 numbers will be lower, but they can choose either the 25 or 26.
What we're based on the state, not county.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, shoot, there was, and then, we also, voted on the, dues for 2027. And we kind of had a discussion like we did last year, and the board decided to pass a higher dues increase than what the finance committee had done. And so there was kind of that discussion again at the meeting. And as soon as the motion was made to increase the dues more than what the recommendation was, all the members on the finance committee that were there were all just shaking our heads like, here we go again. But then because I finally I raised my hand and I said that all they are seeing, the other members of the board, is what their dues amount would be, what their increases would be. But I said, that the finance committee, we see all the numbers. We see all the revenue. We see all the expenses. We see where everything, how everything is working and stuff. So I said, we have a more complete picture, versus what you're seeing. And that's why why our recommendation is what it is. And so then the person that had made the motion to go above our recommendation pulled their motion. So then it was passed at the 3%. So, we're just, our main goal is to be able to keep the workers there.
So you had this discussion last year. We increased it last year, and you talked about the same thing, that about increasing it and the level that you increased it. And last year you even told us that next year it's going to have to be more. And how did they not understand that if we already knew a year in advance? Not that I'm for increases in
No.
that, but they had a whole year. Am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah.
That we talked about this and that you were going to increase it,
Yeah.
and it was going to have to be more. Why are you kicking the can down the road? Why not catch up and make the catch up, so we're not doing? But
Yeah.
that's just a question. That's all.
And like I said, that the board members, all they're seeing is their, their number, their increase. from like last year to, or this year till next year. And, um, and I think that, um, some of the members are concerned about us losing staff down there. And like, finance committee has said that, that's our number one thing, is that we need to be able to keep our staff, because I mean, if we lose them, our footing at the Capitol is almost non-existent. But at the same time, because like, some of the bigger counties, it's a
big
big
number.
it's a big
Yeah.
hit for them. And everybody thinks that, like, Hennepin and Ramsey, they have all this money. Well, they yeah, they do have the dollars, but at the same time, their expenses are a lot more, and they do different things that we don't do here. So, because I remember last year, one of the commissioners from Washington County was very adamant that our finance department's recommendation was too low, and that it needed to be increased. Well, then after they voted to increase, and I think it only actually passed by one vote, that the um, updated numbers for the dues increases came back, and the person from Washington County was very shocked because theirs went up a lot more. So and that's what I tried to get across to the other board members, is that the finance committee, we see everything, and so we have more of a complete picture of the organization. So
Did they indicate a 3%? That's what their recommendation was?
mhm, mhm.
And what was the alternate?
I think the amendment was 4.
Oh.
So I mean, it wasn't.
The board wanted 4.
Mhm,
That was the motion that was presented
mhm.
and withdrawn. Okay,
Yep,
just
yeah.
curious.
So, but I think that extra percent was like, it like brought in like 20,000. I mean, it wasn't a large amount, but um, we're just, I think our goal is to kind of just be able to kind of keep it stable like we do here at the county, to avoid those huge ups and downs. So, but yeah. And let's see. And then I had a shack membership meeting, and so I chair this work group, and we're kind of looking at maybe shifting our responsibilities onto the executive committee and disbanding the work group, because some of the things that we were initially started, the reasons we were started, have been taken care of. So it's kind of like, well, is this work group really even needed anymore? So the MDH staff that I work with, she was going to bring it to um, the chair and vice chair and other MDH staff, and see what their ideas or impressions are of just doing away with that work group. So and then yesterday afternoon I had another MAFPA meeting. This was the full state work group, and so we had presentations in regards to the safety planning, and then also the county preparation plan. And there's still going to be a lot of unanswered questions and things on January 1 of 27. And the thing that still concerns me with this is the possible unknown cost to the counties to be able to do those, active efforts. And so like one section in the statute, it it talks about economic services and supports, but there's no guideline. There's no limit as far as, dollar amounts. And, so there's, question of like, well, is the county going to be required to pay house payments for someone? Actually, Hennepin County, they had to buy a vehicle for someone. And it's those things that really scare me. That, um, how much help, are we going to be required to provide, I guess. So, yeah, so that was kind of the big thing that, it still just concerns me a lot. And, I guess we'll just have to see what happens going forward. But, I just told the group, I said that, as counties, we don't have any idea of what some of these costs are going to be. And we can't just go and, it's not ethical to increase your levy to put money aside for something that you might need it for, that's just, to me, that's not the right thing to do. So, yeah, so more on that. Anybody think of anything else they wanted to add to their reports?
On the 11 tribes in the cannabis
Mhm.
situation. Do each of those tribes have the right to create a selling spot in every area, or just how does that work?
Well, so the governor and the tribes, like he did like compacts with each, the tribes that wanted one. I don't know if he did one with each tribe or not, but they, there's variations between them.
Mhm.
As far as like probably like how many locations that they can, open up for selling.
Mhm.
Like, we look at White Earth and how, because they're even, opening up in St. Cloud. Well, then, we got Mille Lacs Lake, tribe is there.
Mhm.
But I know that they're kind of trying to do more of a growing facility. But still, to me, it kind of feels like, some are going into other territories that,
Well, I look at East Grand Forks, you have 2 sites that were approved by the city council and 3 Indian sites. They got 5 over there.
there's 3 now. Oh, jeez.
It seems to me like it's a double-edged sword, and if we keep feeding into that, it's going to be it's a tough thing. And it's only hitting our county. It's not even hitting our county. It's the cities in our county.
Yeah. Well, the attraction in East Grand Forks is what's
Grand
across the
Forks.
river.
Yep.
Right.
And Moorhead has 5 or 6 sites too. I don't.
Yep. That's the same. And I think too, that's why White Earth is looking at doing their hotel and casino there is,
Yep.
because they get a lot of North Dakota traffic at Monoman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so
Well,
it's,
I suppose just the plain demand is going to determine how many of these survive.
yeah. And, my concern is that the state has really been dragging their feet for the private entities to get going. So, when they do finally get everything going, are they going to be able to draw customers or not? That's, to be seen too. So,
Another interesting, or not interesting, but one thought in this whole process is that it's illegal to be driving across the border with, and are they
Yep.
you're going to have spotters in East Grand Forks to take the cars
know
at
that.
the.
Yep.
Mhm.
Police department said they're not gonna get involved with it, but if there's others, I,
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know, it's a learning curve for everybody and, just hopefully everything works out, so.
well, okay.
Just one quick follow-up on Ross. Did you bring up, are we gonna put it on the agenda or anything about the security thing? Do we have to?
I'd love to.
So then we should meet with afterwards to put it on the agenda about if we want to do something as a group with the issue Ross brought up
Oh.
last time.
Security.
Yeah, because we have to put it on the agenda, right, to
Well,
talk
it
about that.
depends on how you wanna handle it. I kinda,
Give us some direction.
I figured it'd be kind of a budget item.
Oh, so you want to talk about it then?
Well, I
I-
haven't had a chance.
No,
frankly,
I understand.
to do much.
Yeah, I understand that.
And having tried to address this about a decade ago, I mean, there's lots of options, there's
Okay.
lots of components.
Do we
to it.
just need to sit separately before we bring it up here then?
Can I think that one through?
Yep,
I mean, I
mhm.
don't wanna keep it from the board, but I mean, if you're talking about security, generally you need
Yep,
security people in the room.
Right.
And,
yep,
some of that is,
yep.
Well, we have a committee with Warren and I with the sheriff and security. I mean, we certainly could get ideas.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where it
I
starts.
just don't want it to later. I don't want it to go too long without, because you brought it up. Because I want to make sure we at least address it in the future. And I just didn't know when to bring it up. I don't want to, because it's not on the agenda, so
Mhm.
we got to address it properly.
I think,
You can always talk and say whatever you wanna say.
Hmm.
It's different from a staff standpoint of coming up with
Yep. Okay.
options.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we don't forget it.
and I think, that you just need to like either talk with Jim or, to kind of maybe get some ideas of what's feasible.
A couple of you know, I already had ideas about this quite a while ago.
Mhm.
Good.
But it was not acceptable, so.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
and I know that there's a grant, I think from the state, for courthouse security, but I don't know if that would apply for here or not, so that might be something to check into. So, okay, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Mr. Steiner.
Morning.
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 You want me to pass that down?
Yeah. if you want to pass those around.
It was a late addition to the
Added.
agenda, so I figured I'd have it
Gotcha.
printed ahead of time. So.
Thank you.
Down here a bit. Okay, the first item up on the agenda is the insurance for the waste energy facility in Fosston. A number of years ago, Minnesota County's Insurance Trust decided they did not want to extend insurance anymore to those facilities. We were told to go out on our own and get those. They did carry us until we found a suitable insurance. We've been working with this Mahoney group who goes out and does all this legwork for us, solicits the insurance policies, gets everything set up and ready for us to go ahead and engage them. I've done that for a number of years. We pay them $25,000 for doing that, and they do that for the other waste energy facilities in the state. So that's been ongoing things that comes up as part of our payment each year. They have gone out and renegotiated our insurance for the balance of 2026 and 2027. They've been very diligent in looking at property values, and they've been increasing it. So the increase from and these numbers are incorrect, the years here. So this should be the 2025, 2026. It should be the 2026, 2027 value. It's gone up over $2 million. in value in the last year for insurance purposes. And their quote came back from last year's premium of 283,704. They actually dropped the rate to 267,622. And then we have been picking up the terrorism insurance policy on that the last few years. I think primarily because of all the civil issues we've seen, especially in the Twin Cities. And so again, that one dropped from 9643 to just over $9,000 for the additional. So it's a savings about $620. So going through that, they did the comparisons, which was in the addendum. You can see the side by side 25, 26, 26, 27. Value increase of just under 5%, $2.9 million. Premiums changing in there. We had the terrorism, so this would be with the terrorism. This would be the balance. This would be the savings from the previous year. Usually we don't get savings. We're just happy if we get a slight increase. So what was weird is MCIT considered us a high risk facility, but when they come in, you know, this is a group that specializes in energy facilities primarily. They actually think ours is pretty low on their list of risks for what they get into. They do come out and inspect us. We've had to do a number of things over the last few years to upgrade the plant.
Some of it should have to do with location, for goodness gracious.
I don't get into I don't get into
You don't know.
what how they evaluate us, but you know they're dealing with the very largest of the energy producing facilities. So this is you know a $63 million plant is
Peanuts.
for a big one. But you know the nice thing is when they do the inspections, it's usually costing us money to do that, but they're picking up very, I don't want to say nitpicky, but very subtle things that are specific to the industry, is safety things that should be upgraded so it makes the plant safer overall. But it has come with the cost when you're doing things that cost $25,000 or $50,000 to upgrade. But
but at the same time, you're making it safer and
well, and again, it might be peanuts for them. At $63 million, it's a pretty big chunk of change. But you know, when we were doing this MCIT, I want to say we were in the 40s, $40 million for values. So,
has the insurer brought up anything in regards to the battery disposal?
no, they haven't looked at that. Again, you know, that's not traditionally a energy producing facilities issue. It tends to be more of the recycling and garbage end of things. Where we see fires, you know, White Earth Transfer Station had a fire a while back, most likely battery related.
Hubbard's
had a number of fires, and you know some that they've actually been able to put out without too much damage, but have had a couple that have caused some damage. Beltrami County's the same way. We've had little flare-ups, but they get caught while they're little. That's kind of the fear, is that it's going to ignite when there's nobody there.
Right.
We do in Foston have people there 24/7, but they don't have reason to be in that end of the building. So I guess the biggest saving grace there is most of the waste is handled through a transfer station already, and that seems to be where those fires are being caught. But that is always an issue.
Right. Yeah.
So we'd have to break this down to 3 parts. One would be the motion to approve the binder with Mahoney Group for their work, $25,000. It's been the same value every year. Second would be a motion authorizing the coverage for the terrorism insurance with Star Insurance in the dollar amount quoted. And then the third would be authorizing the property insurance with Star Insurance for the next term, which would start August 1 and go through July 31 of next year.
Okay, so first we need a motion to approve the 25,000 for the Mahoney Group.
I so move.
Paul,
Second.
seconded by Warren. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, next motion is for the terrorism insurance.
So move.
Second.
Ross and Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And the third motion is for the total amount beginning August 1st of 26 in the amount of $267,622.
I'll move.
Second.
Warren and Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay.
Right. The next item up is the packet that just handed out. That's to close out the MPCA grants with our vendor who did the equipment installation. The Titus Murph Services out of California. They are the company that constructed the material recovery facility in 2018 for us under that state bond project. We went back to them to modify their own equipment and install the new equipment in there. It was part of two grants. We had a grant for co-collected organics, which did some improvements at the landfill and put in the robotic sorters and reorganized some of the equipment. For the organics project in Boston, that was a $1.5 million award from the Municipal Pollution Control Agency. We also received as a separate grant in the same year, grant for modifying the recycling equipment out there and adding some additional equipment, primarily for the processing the small fraction of the waste that was going out to the landfill as daily cover. That was called the Enhanced Recycling Grant. That was just under $1 million. Both of them had a 20% minimum match requirement. So we bought most of the equipment direct from the vendor, and then we paid Titus to install that and fabricate new conveyors and chutes and discharge areas and platforms. So we've paid everything but the last two bills withheld to make sure we got everything on our end. We've kind of been waiting for this to come up, but we just got notice here, confirmation right before the 4th of July that they have secured their IC-134s. They've submitted their certified payroll. Those have been submitted to the Pollution Control Agency to make sure they were okay with it. There were no lien waivers required on it because they did everything themselves in-house. So the first item up would be payment of the balance of the project to Titus Murph Services in the amount of $99,667. And that amount was actually a March of this year change order because we had put in that magnet in there and then had to change that conveyor belt and get rid of that blower system.
Sure.
That wasn't working. The second motion would be for the Enhanced Recycling Grant, and that would be for the same company for $49,900.
Okay, so looking for a motion for the first one of the $99,667.
So move.
Ross,
Second.
seconded by Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then on to the second motion for the amount of $49,900.
I'll move.
And second.
Warren and Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, last one's pretty generic. It's just updates. There's no action items for it. About 2 weeks ago, we did a tour of Northwest Minnesota. I took representatives of Circular Action Alliance. That's the waste packaging producers representative.
Mhm.
Also, some members from Polk, which is an engineer contracted through Eunomia, which is contracted by the PCA to put together these plans for the waste packaging law. I'm one of the 18 members on the advisory board for that. There's been a number of surveys that have been out in the last 5 months or so to the waste haulers, to the counties, the cities, and the facilities that would all be impacted, trying to get more participation, more people paying attention to what's going on. Again, the law kicks in where it's actually implemented on a phased-in schedule starting in 2029. They would be paying 50% of all the eligible recycling costs to all those entities. The waste hauler providing collection service, providing a cart, municipalities for their education, any subsidies they're providing, and to the facilities. They're processing recyclables or composting the packaging portion of the waste stream. So I know there's been issues with some of the surveys getting responses, especially from the haulers, but also a lot of the local communities. You know, everyone sees that date in 2029,
Yeah.
and they just figure it's far enough down the road, but they're actually doing their budgeting and everything right now, and trying to figure out what they're going to cover and what they're not going to cover. So in 2029, it starts at 50% cost share or reimbursement, I guess is how they're looking at now. 2030 would be 75%, and 2031 every year after would be 90% of their costs reimbursed. So trying to facilitate that, at least in Northwest Minnesota. We went to 14 different solid waste facilities in Northwest Minnesota. So they actually got to see what rural looks like, not what they envision rural looking like in St. Paul. So when you drive 15, 20 minutes and you come up on a town of 40 people, and then you're driving another 15, 20 before you get to another, actually doing it creates more of an impression than telling them. So we went there, we went to a lot of the transfer stations, went to the Marquette landfill, went to the household hazardous waste facility in Bagley, down to the processing facility in Detroit Lakes. They went down to Perham, they already done Pope, Douglas, and Alexandria. But so went around there, they got to hear about a lot of the unique things up here, like the worry about bears and, you know, packs of dogs on the reservation and things like that. So I think it opened a lot of eyes. Hopefully people got comfortable meeting that person they'll be dealing with and contracting with going forward. And then we had on Thursday evening a meeting at Bemidji State University where we invited everybody. And I think we had about 40 people attending from different groups. We got to hear the presentations and then ask their questions. So people asking, well, if I don't want to participate, do I have to, sort of a thing. Explain that no, you don't have to, but their role is to find someone that'll provide the service. So if you're not willing to do it for your customers, they'll find someone that will. So, you know, just things that people weren't thinking about, they didn't ask questions, didn't know who to ask. And I think a lot of it's just trying to reinforce that this is a law that was passed a couple of years ago now, and it's most likely going to happen. So hopefully that'll pay dividends down the road for everybody. The only other update I had, I was going to update on the grant stuff, but the only thing I'll say on that is all the equipment's obviously in. Everything's working. We just got confirmation last week that the glass markets will take the fines off that new equipment as glass and process it down there, which is something the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency has had heartburn with for about 20 years. So they'll be doing that. I believe we're the only ones in the state doing that. I imagine as part of the CPR thing, there'll be others transitioning to it. So that seems to be how it goes, as we tend to do it, and then when it's successful, then others follow along. So let's see here. The only other thing is we have our landfill permit we're working on right now, because that's coming due, despite the fact we just got all the approvals on everything not that long ago. But our transfer station and resource recovery facilities, their permits are also due. All applications will be due yet this year. So a lot of permitting stuff that'll be going on.
Sorry, I missed the last meeting. Question about composting. How's that going?
It's going pretty well. Hubbard County just got their truck. They had a grant. Part of that was to buy a collection truck for their large generators over there in Hubbard and Beltrami County. And the truck, I think, took a year and a half to come in, but they just received it a few weeks ago. And so they just started transitioning their customers into it. So compost area, we're now working. We have the aerated stack pile system, which is part of this project, up and going. We're playing with it because we have to learn it, to learn the settings and everything.
Ratios and.
Yep. But we did, the bunkers we put in are modular, so we can order more if we need to. We can change the size of the bays so we can accommodate more material relatively easy and relatively cheaply. So that should take off real soon. Ironically, our new permit doesn't allow for that system. So we're following, we're pretending we're doing the other system and following the guidelines for a less efficient system, even though we're running a more efficient system. So we just don't get to cash in quite so much on the benefits, but really it's just retention time, and we just have to do everything longer.
So 10 years from now, we'll get our permit for that.
I would hope they could issue it relatively quickly, just simply for the fact they just got done looking at it. But you do have new people there
Oh, sure.
now too, so you have no idea how it's going. And all the issues with the online construction demolition landfills are still out there, and they're not providing any relief. We've already asked if we can just have that postponed on our permit, and they said no, not because it wasn't with merit, but because they've been telling other people for years no, it would be inconsistent to grant it now. So what happens with the rules themselves probably in large part will be determined by what happens with the elections.
Sure.
There's going to be a change in parties at the governor's end of things. Are they going to replace the senior administration, these agencies?
Sure.
If that happens, you might have a different shift in what they want to pass or not pass. The unfortunate reality is, because they hold your permits, they don't really need the law to be changed in order to enforce what they want in the law. They just tell you they want to issue a permit. And that's what they have been doing now for several years. There's a lot of facilities in the state that run out capacity, and it's intentional. You make the decision. If you want a permit, you're going to go along with what they want, even though it's not required by law. And if you don't, you're going to run out of capacity and you'll be shut down.
Sure.
So to me, that's one of the biggest areas the state needs to fix, is reining in that, and there doesn't seem to be any appetite legislators in to do that. So,
and I don't know that a lot of the other counties in the state understood what we were going through, so then like at the policy committee last year, or policy conference, when, Brian, had me present, and I mean, he specifically wanted me to, tell the rest of the commissioners and staff that were at that conference that we have been running without permits. And everybody's just like, how can you do that? Well, I mean, we call them and we tell them that, we're doing it. And so they know we're doing it, but it still doesn't.
Yeah, the last 2 landfill cells we built without permits, and I contacted the enforcement division and told them we're going to do it, and told them they don't have to worry about coming out to document. If they want, I'll document it for them. I'll send them a picture of the first bucket of dirt being turned, and they can do what they want. It's not to show them up. It's just the enforcement division isn't the one making the decision not to issue the permits.
Right.
And I don't know if it's a decision not to issue the permits or just the inability for them to get staff to do it. So,
well, I think you're doing a good job. How's that?
Thank you.
Oh. Anything else?
No, thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. See you later. Okay, Karen,
Good morning.
good morning.
I have 2 agenda items today. First one is we had a resignation in our social worker in our disability unit, and so I am requesting to approve a social work position and to fill any internal subsequent position vacancies occurring because of this action.
Okay,
So moved.
Gary
I'll second.
and Ross. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The second agenda item I have is a contract we have with Department of Human Services for our Adult Mental Health Initiative and our Community Support Plan. The focus of this state grant is to provide a continuum and comprehensive array of adult mental health services. Polk County is the fiscal host of this grant for our Region 1 counties. This is a 2-year grant. We initially wrote the grant in 2024. We had the grant in 2025 and in 2026. And so what this request is, we needed to move some line items to spend the money in different ways within our designated brass codes. And so the request is a motion to approve the 2026 Adult Mental Health Initiative and the Community Support Grant contract amendments. The Community Support Program Plan contract is $431,080, and the Adult Mental Health Initiative Grant is $1,461,298. And so it is the request is to approve in order to be able to use the codes in different activities.
Okay. Need a motion.
So this is just
When-
changing codes?
Yep. When we write the original plan, we have to designate between about 20 codes how we want to spend our funds. And so if they make a change within the codes, we have to go back to the state and request an approved plan. And so
This
this,
is already approved dollars.
our board here approved this funds in 2025 for the 2-year period for 2025, 2026. So the 2026 grant is just to move funding, which is the same amount of funds, but just move them within the line items. So I'll give you an example here. This is the plan that they have to submit. We have a contract with both Aluma and Sanford, and they have to decide within these codes how they want to spend their money. And you can see the first year at 40/20, that first, I don't have a little pointer, but there was no funds designated in community education and prevention. And this year they want to spend $18,051 in that category. So there's some, they've just had to move, we have to approve if they move from one budget to the next. The first budget was 2025 and the second budget is 2026. It's the same dollar amount, just different codes that they are going to spend their funds in.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Always, I'm still looking for a motion.
I'm just leery with the bad press this week,
Last week
last week
with Aluma.
with Aluma. And I understand the money is already allocated and all of that, and it's for them, but it's their ability to change the codes. I understand that. I do. I just want to make sure on the record that it is Aluma that has the ability to adjust these funds. I understand the process. And I understand that this money has already been spoken for and is already budgeted for and already taken care of. I understand that. I just want to make sure that we make sure that we're on top of how it is being taken care of and spent.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. And I do want to clarify, this contract is a contract that we have with the state for Polk County Social Services as the fiscal host. I will be bringing probably at the end of the next board meeting a contract to use this money with Aluma and Sanford. So there'll be two separate contracts after this contract is approved.
Yeah.
That'll come forward with how Aluma's going to spend their funding and how Sanford will spend
Okay.
their funding. And yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, thanks.
Are you still looking?
Yes, I'm still looking for a motion.
I'll volunteer.
Okay, Warren,
I'll second.
seconded by Ross. Any other discussion? So, so we receive the money and then we push it out to Sanford and Aluma. If one of them does not use their funds correctly, are we responsible then, or is it the provider?
So we get the contract. We are responsible for reviewing invoices that they bill to us, and but as far as if they misuse the funds, that is on each provider.
Okay, so in order for them to be paid, they have to present an invoice of work that they done. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, next is Kayla. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. So had the Fair Meadow Foundation come forward seeking approval for a charitable gambling permit. They're going to be having a raffle on July 31st. So just seeking approval of a resolution on that.
I so move.
Paul,
I'll second.
seconded by Ross. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Hi, Sarah.
Okay, let's see here. All right, so the first item is our contract agreement with the DAC, the Polk County DAC. So this is similar to our school health services, and we renew or review our contract every 3 years. So you saw the school ones a few weeks ago, and so this is the Polk County DAC agreement. It has the same hourly rate as our other agreements, so you've seen these rates as well. And so we just review the agreement, make sure we're all on the same page, and provide those health consultant services that the Polk County DAC needs for both Crookston and East Grand Forks. So the language is very similar to our school nurse agreements with, of course, the DAC chapters reference, the statutory references in here. So looking for approval for that for the next 3 years. It's been reviewed by the attorney's office as well as by the DAC.
So move.
So second.
Ross and Paul. So if, expenses became really astronomical within those 3 years, do you have the ability to go and renegotiate? Okay.
Yeah, we do have that. We have like some language in there that it can be reviewed annually.
Okay, yeah, I guess I didn't catch that.
We haven't ever got to that situation, but we've talked about that in the past, if that was needed. The location of being in Crookston and East Grand Forks makes it pretty convenient for us to do what we need to do in a timely manner. So, and they're pretty self-sufficient, but it, if that situation presented itself, we do have that language in there.
Yeah. Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right, so the next one is for advertisement and hiring clerk for a clerk typist cashier 3. To read that each time because it's a mouthful for me. In essence, support staff for our public health department. We had an individual resign from their position recently, and so looking to advertise and fill that position and any subsequent vacancies that might happen because of it.
So move.
Second.
Warren and Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. The next one is our opioid settlement advisory council. This is our request for proposal for round 3. And each year I've brought this timeline to you to review and have approved. Bless you. So just a little bit of background, the round 2 funding, which is what's happening right now, January to December, is we allocated $500,000, and at our most recent advisory council meeting in June, we discussed and made some recommendations to you around the RFP for the 3rd round of funding. And so those recommendations are here, looking at calendar year 2027, consistent with this year. B is the item that's slightly different. So currently, when we pulled the report for our June meeting, we have about 275,000 that would be available for 2027. But upon reviewing previous payments that were made to the opioid fund, they typically seem to come in August. This fund is a little different than other funds in that we don't get prior notice. So Chuck and I get an email that it's coming and then they come. So it's a little hard to be planful. And of course, we're not going to give out funds that we don't have. And so what my recommendation and what the recommendation of the council is that in the communication documents that we put out for the RFP process, that we put 275,000, and then we reevaluate it. Like I come back to you if we do receive additional payments, that we would go up to 400,000, assuming that those payments came in and that we communicated about that. Because I do not want the funds to just sit there if we have initiatives that we can support in our community, but also we can't earmark funds that aren't there. So 275,000 is what I'd be looking for approval today, and then up to 400,000 coming back to you, which is slightly different than what we've done in the past just because we've had more funds in there. And then these are recommendations, of course, by public health for me as the health strategist, which is listed in the MOA from the state and from the advisory council, with, of course, your final approval on all of both of these RFP processes and then the final awards. And then the RFP timeline, which would be included in this recommendation, is listed here. This is slightly different than last year in that it's slightly earlier. We wanted a little bit more time with the review process. Because the RFP has been available, there are more people interested in it. And so in order to do our due diligence and not have the reviewers be rushed and so forth, we wanted a little bit more time. So you can see here, there is a slightly earlier application review date, and then the due date being at the end of September instead of in October, and then that same kind of process happening through the fall. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion to approve the funding and timeline recommendations.
It can be all at once.
Yes.
Yep, it's one. Okay, Paul,
Second.
seconded by Warren. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
You're gonna send me something on,
Yes, I have a note right here that says email Warren.
okay,
Sure do. I have the information. I just need to send it to you.
all right,
All good.
good,
You're on my list, Warren.
good.
Uh-oh.
Good, bad,
Oh,
or
that's
good,
a
bad,
good-
or otherwise.
Oh,
Yeah,
Good, bad, or otherwise.
yeah. I
her
think,
husband's been on that list.
yeah, I think,
That's a list
Oh,
you can't
boy.
stop.
yeah, I think I'm off the list right now, so.
It's yours when we get to it.
Oh, gee, thanks. Ugh,
Good morning.
good morning.
It's going to be a really exciting morning when we get done with these two topics and I update you on something. So,
Oh, gosh.
Marshall Polk Rural Water. So I've looked at adding rural water to our Angus shop over the last couple of years. The reason why we would do it is because of our noxious weed spraying program. Our guy is constantly either traveling back to Crookston to fill up at the Crookston shop or finding another place to buy water from. And there really isn't anything up in that northwest part of the county to do it. And so I had talked to them a couple of years ago about adding a hydrant and connecting, and it just was cost prohibitive at the time. Well, now it sounds like the bean company needs rural water brought into Angus, and they contacted us and say, well, if you want to hook up, it'll save you both some money, and therefore I'm bringing it to you. So the cost for the hookup would be the $11,550. The cost for a meter well, which would be beneficial because then we could hook the hydrant and the shop up to it, would be another $1,200 to $1,500. And then we would contract with a plumber to actually hook up the water to the shop. So I need approval to sign the agreement and pay Marshall Polk the $11,550 for the hookup and up to $1,500 for the meter well.
Are there options for lines coming into the shop? I mean, I'm just for future down the road, if we should just put in a bigger line for who knows what in the future, or if it's just standard.
I guess I didn't ask them. They're bringing in the line across Casper's property the way I sound. And if it's big enough for the bean company and for us.
What's a line coming into the Angus shop is what I'm asking.
Well, we get the plumber to do that. So whatever size line we want.
Okay.
The Angus shop only has one motor grader, one truck in it. Typically one full-time employee and then one part-time employee during the winter. And if and when we reconstruct the Crookston shop, we would add Angus to the contract at the same time and just extend it closer to the road, because right now it's too short for the equipment that is trying to be stored in there. And so we do need to make it a little bit longer, but we don't need to do anything else. It's perfectly fine the way it is. So we would basically just need enough water to run the laboratory and then hook up our sprayer for cleaning off equipment when it needs to be cleaned, either due to sand and salt or during the summer dirt and mud. So
My guess is they're bringing a 3-inch line across,
yeah, we would make sure it's big enough.
and you're gonna get at least a 2-inch into your.
Yeah. The hydrant's going to be, like a regular hydrant, so that we can hook our 4-inch hose up to it and fill our weed sprayer, which is about 3,500 gallons. I talked to them today, and in a week's usage up there, they use about 40,000 gallons to spray. So it'll be really beneficial if we can do this.
It isn't budgeted, but
I mean, it's small enough that it.
right.
Okay, so first we need a motion to approve the hooking up and the purchase of the meter.
So moved.
I'll second.
Gary and Ross. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So the second one is to sign the agreements, whether I sign it or Mr. Whiting, I don't care. Up to you.
I can sign it based on the amount of money.
Okay.
Mhm.
Board motion, that's fine.
I make a motion that the county administrator signs it.
And I'll second.
Okay, so then that's signing the water users agreement, the flood insurance agreement, and the right-of-way easement.
Yes.
Correct.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next, we have county ditch maintenance, county ditch 111, just south and east of Mentor. It starts and runs east and then goes north, and the landowner has some dead trees that need to be cleared and grubbed out of the ditch, plus the ditch cleaned, so it drains the property. So I need approval.
I move.
I'll second.
Okay, Paul and Ross. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried.
So the one item that's not on the agenda,
Do you have this maintenance form to sign?
he already signed it. It's right here.
Okay.
It's, well, it was in his district, so.
I got Badger.
It's just east of Mentor. Do you have Badger?
I've got Badger.
Oh, yeah, she does have Badger.
Well, let's have her sign it too then as well.
We'll both sign it.
There we go. Sorry about that. I didn't, well, anyway. That's
It was looking right down the line in my eyes.
okay.
Sorry, John. Took your thunder.
That's why I asked him if you had it to sign.
Oh, there we go.
I read it.
So when did you leave on vacation?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Tomorrow, Mr. Whiting left on vacation. We received notice asking if, well, Norman County received notice since Norman County put in the build grant application for 2026, received notice asking if they would reduce their ask from 25 million to 24 million for the Neilsville, Hendrum, and Georgetown Bridge. So they said yes, everybody agreed. They sent it in. Thursday afternoon or Friday, I got a voicemail on my office phone from Congresswoman Fishbach's office, congratulating us on receiving 24 million in build funds. So it isn't us, it is Norman County, since they are the ones that submitted it this year. But after 11 years of waiting, it sounds like the collaboration between us, Norman Clay on the Minnesota side and Trail and Cass on the North Dakota side, is going to receive 24 million to reconstruct the 3 bridges over the Red River. And so,
Will that cover it?
well, it covers half of the bridge cost basically, and we had budgeted some county money from each county and some bonding funds through the state of Minnesota, of which we will have to re-request because we've been doing it every year. But either way, even if we don't receive a dollar of bonding dollars for the Neilsville Bridge, we'll be able to pay for our portion of it. And Trail County will be able to pay for their portion of it. So Neilsville should be taken care of. I'm not going to be too concerned about the funding for Hendrum and Georgetown because that's going to be Norman's and Clay's responsibility to make sure that they have it. And Norman, like us, when you submit the grant application, you say you're going to be the financier and that you will make sure that the local funding is available. And that's what they've done. I think the only reason I received the phone call was because we just submitted the Bridge Improvement Program grant that you guys approved the funding letter for and sent the application in just the Friday before. And Representative Fishbach's staffer had submitted a letter of support for that. Doesn't mean, so this doesn't mean we're only gonna get 24 million, but 24 million is a great dollar amount for the three bridges. By me submitting the Bridge Improvement Program grant, that grant application, we were eligible up to 34 million instead of just the 25. So they could add some from that grant app to our, which means we would need less local funding to cover it. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
Would we have to share it down the line too? Or?
Yeah, I mean,
Share it all.
so our bridge would get 8 million, Hendrum gets 8 million, Georgetown gets 8 million.
Right, and on
Or
on the extra grant though.
It would be the same thing.
Same, yeah.
Whatever
it's
the
split
amount
it,
is,
Split it
divided by
down,
three.
All
split
right,
it down
sounds
with
good.
that.
Yep, great.
So, anyway, so we're, it was exciting news. I was tickled pink listening to the voicemail. I wish I would have been in the office when he called, and I could have thanked him very much. So typically, even though we're applying for the grant, the US DOT and Federal Highway will let their congressional person know first that they're awarding it in their district, and that's why they knew before we knew. So anyway, just some good news.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
Oh, great.
long time coming.
Yep.
A lot of applications.
There's a
and-
lot of answers. Warren, you can go and spread the news.
I could run for re-election.
You don't want to, you said. You burnt all your signs.
I did burn them all.
I
Anyway,
know, you told me that.
it's going to be a process to get it from hearing about the award, getting the award letter. Norman's going to have to go through the grant agreement
Mhm.
with the feds, which is going to take a little while, but still, knowing there's an end to this
Yes.
and
Oh,
being able to reconstruct those three bridges will be huge for the three counties.
Yeah, we can't start building tomorrow,
No,
but
no.
we can start building soon.
soon.
But then also
Probably,
too,
my guess is it would be probably an early 28 letting at the earliest. So we're still a year and a half, 2 years from seeing something in Polk, because ours would be the first one built as
Mhm.
per the timeline,
Mhm.
since it's the only one closed.
Oh.
But still, that's better than not at all.
Right.
So,
Mhm. So are all three going to be totally new bridges?
yep,
Oh, yeah.
got rid of all three truss bridges.
Mhm.
What kind
They're
of,
all overhead truss bridges, narrow,
what's the
and
width on those?
on the current ones
Well,
are the new
on
ones.
new
So the
ones.
current ones are 26 feet curb to curb, 28 feet rail to rail.
Yeah.
The new ones will be 36 feet wide rail to rail. So,
Yeah.
Significant.
Yeah.
and no
12
truss.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the farmers and everybody else will be able to cross the bridge more safely. And
That's a big deal.
Very big deal. Yeah. And then, I mean, just to have the support from Trail and Cass County too.
Yep.
You know, that's a big part of this.
Right. So
So they're gonna get funding on their side too then.
yeah, the grant application was for all 5 counties.
Sure.
So you split that 8 million, or you put that 8 million on each bridge, and
Yep.
then whatever's left, each person or each county
Divide.
pays their portion.
Sure.
You know, the one thing we talked with the state of Minnesota and DOT about was it's more beneficial for the Minnesota side because you got Neilsville, Hendrum, and Georgetown,
Right.
and our ability to get to the interstate versus their ability to get to the small towns, you know. So we were putting more Minnesota money into funding those 3 bridges than North Dakota was putting into.
Sure.
But, you know, we'll start having those discussions with those 2 counties along with the other 2 counties and come up with a better way of paying for them than how we applied for it. But we'll see what happens. At least we can build them.
Yep.
Well, Trail County has been dragging their feet on this, or opposing it. What is this?
They've been opposing it because there was no grant funds. Now that there's grant funds there,
Okay,
they haven't really been opposing it. They just wanted to make sure that they weren't going to spend a crap load of money on it.
and they sit there with $8 trillion or whatever it is in their bank account and won't touch it. $8 billion.
In North Dakota.
Yeah,
Well, we'll see.
some
Yeah,
people.
Stop it, Warren. They did not. They do not.
So anyway, that's all I have.
Thanks for the
Yep.
great news.
There we go.
Oh, you leaving trouble shows. Hi, Jake.
Morning.
It wasn't intended at you. I just
Intending to say it before I got here. Huh?
no. It was just perfect timing.
Right on time.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I said it.
Perfect.
8 items.
Gonna be a good day.
He's not going to
Busy.
lollygag.
No,
I'm busy.
Are you coming on Saturday?
I am gonna be out of town actually on Saturday.
Is Wolfie coming?
Didn't sound like it. He didn't sound too interested.
I told him you had to.
I will do a written. I will prepare something for you.
Okay.
Do you want me to send an email?
Yes, just so I get it to my email. I'm going to give you my other email so I make sure I get it.
Yeah, do that. So I didn't know if you used your county one.
I do, but I don't read that one as often.
Understand. Some things don't come through. Okay, got a lot of action items today, so I'm gonna get into first action items, a conditional use permit for Dean and Tamara Smith. Pretty basic request here is for an accessory structure greater than 800 square feet on a riparian parcel. That would be a lake touching parcel. And so their request is to construct a 28 by 36 accessory building. They are building a cabin. We did issue a permit this spring for them to construct a cabin and a septic system. And they're looking at doing a garage a little over 800 square feet. Total square footage would be 1,008 square feet in size. This is a parcel on Union Lake. Parcel is 44,860 square feet in size, section 13 Garden Township. It is an undeveloped parcel. It is in Forgotten Bay, so on the south side of Union Lake, south end of where the public access is. We'll go over kind of into the staff report. So section 18.2225F states conditional use for anything over 800 square feet on a riparian lot, so one that touches the water. Keep in mind that this structure is within 300 feet. Once we get over 300 feet on one of those riparian parcels, our section of our ordinance kind of changes. It allows you to go bigger, taller, those types of things. So this particular parcel falls into this grouping in D there, 40,000 square feet or over. They're allowed a maximum accessory structure size that totals 1,600 square feet. So they are in line with that. Some pertinent facts on this request. So when we factored in all their impervious coverage, a driveway coming in, I don't believe they're going to pave their driveway even. They will be under 12% impervious. We allow 25% or under. So again, we issued the permit for construction of a cabin, and this is the accessory building they would like to have on that lot. DNR sent their kind of more boilerplate letter. Consider these, if you approve the application, no living sleeping quarters, no future accessory structures allowed over that's 1,600 square foot size limitation. New shed must meet setbacks. All existing buildings and future buildings must meet all setbacks, all basically ordinance standards. Any bare ground be planted with perennial vegetation. All future structures should not block or change natural drainage ways. And then to ensure the parcel has an additional location for another septic, and then vegetative screening. So go over a couple pictures on this request. So this is the location. Union's public access is right down the road here, kind of a back area to get into the Forgotten Bay addition. If you recall, we did a plat on this probably about 6 years ago, and then the shed development right to the south of this property.
That's a real shallow part of the lake, isn't
It
it?
is a very shallow part of the lake. There used to actually be a road that came across Union Lake right here.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Where's the main road?
The main road is actually off my picture
Okay.
here to the west. This is Township Road coming in. The township actually has taken it over this spring. Garden Township felt there was enough cabins in here now. I think their township was 4 or more cabins. They would then, have the developer give them a request to take over the road. So
Are they the first or how many cabins are in there?
this is going to be actually lot 8, I believe. 1, 2. Yes.
But
lot
they're the
8.
first house.
Nope, there's a couple we've issued permits on in the past 3 years. There's a home on this property, and then we permitted one on this property as
Okay.
well. So there are 3 or 4 along there now.
Okay.
Kind of just zoomed up. These are old aerial photos. These are 2022. So there was only one existing cabin on this development on the lot, actually lot 3 over there.
Is this one where they're moving the garage in? Okay.
Yes, yep, they're moving this garage actually from a different property on Union Lake. They're moving it from a different site on.
I just noticed it said construct.
And they're needing to do a foundation for it. They're needing to do some construction.
Yep.
Them moving it on doesn't hinder us from, no permit required or anything. But yeah, that's good side note, that they are actually moving this on. So they had a couple pictures that were passed out at the public hearing. It's shed structure. So this request is not to tie that into septic. Usually that's what we're doing is, septic on an accessory structure. This is actually just for the size of the building. So planning commission and staff recommended approval of this. Structure shall not be used as a guest cottage or contain habitable space. Applicant shall keep vegetation from the lake to screen the structure. So any extensive tree removal within 50 feet of the lake is not allowed. No future development shall be allowed that would exceed 25% impervious. Conditional use shall become void 1 year after it was granted unless used, and then I'll waive from our 6th standard, fit in with their neighboring properties. So I have a resolution for approval with those recommendations.
I'll second.
Paul and Ross. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And they're eventually gonna build a house there.
Yes, they are actually going to be pouring here this week, I believe. They were ready to go on the house. We've issued that permit. Yep, house and septic are already issued. Okay, next planning and zoning action item I have is regarding a preliminary plat approval to replat a portion of town site of Lakeside Park. Probably just easier if I just get into the maps on this one. This particular property is on Maple Inn Road. It's also got a township road, 150th Avenue on the other side of it. This is on the south end of the pavilion, is actually right here. So Maple Lake Pavilion, basically like a 5-way stop here, or 5-way intersection here. This is that triangular portion of property that was always coupled with Benoit's Resort, which is just down the road on Maple Lake. Breezy Point, some people refer to it as Breezy Point. So there was an old plat that was done out there. Let's show you this mess. So this is how that area was platted in the late 50s, early 60s. They had all these lots on the lakeside, which actually these lots still exist. Some of these, as you come around the curve, are very tight, very narrow. But then they also had these back lots here that really were to accompany these front lots. So historically, Benoit didn't want to pay a bunch of taxes on all these little lots. They had them combined all up as one parcel. So about a year ago, we got a couple calls that there was a bunch of survey work getting done and they were repinning all these old pins. So we got a hold of the owner, which is the applicant, Chuck Moleski, and he was saying, well, we're replatting it as that old plat we did in the late 50s, early 60s. Said they're not going to be buildable parcels in any regard. You're just basically doing them for parking and possible septic. They're all 25-foot lots, most of them. So to get something in there to meet any setbacks wouldn't really do anyone any good. So kind of transitioned into, well, what could we do on these properties then? So it was 2 parcels here. They were cut with the old replat here, all the way down to this line here, half a lot 16 and a little portion of 17 of the old plat. And then there was some property that was just a parcel on its own, triangular in nature. So last year, he in the fall added these parcels together and tried to market a large triangular portion of property to sell. It didn't sell, and so here we're back to the drawing board where he's wanting to split these as buildable parcels. These 3 parcels, why we're platting just 3 is because it's been split off so many times in its history that there was some splits done south of it to create more backlot, and these are going to be buildable parcels for a home, an accessory building, septic, all the such. They meet over 40,000 square feet in size and have 150 feet of road frontage actually on both sides of them. So couple more things about this. No roadway work is going to be done on this. There's already roads there. It would basically be creating accesses either off the township road or off Maple Inn Road southeast there. There's only one existing access into here. It's right here, and they kind of had these small cabins that have since been removed and put on this tract of land. You can see them right here. These were old, small, like fish house cabins that the resort would, you want a spot, you'd rent it out, and there were a few positioned on this lot. Did do some soils on this lot to see what septic systems would be able to be put. They are going to be standard, but they're most likely going to be above ground mount septics. There was no wetlands located on no wetland areas on the National Water Inventory. Seem to be like they're well drained and the water sitting back there on those properties. So with that, like I said, they don't anticipate it 1 acre of disturbance. They would need some state permitting with that. And all the lots meet size and width standards in our zoning ordinance for buildable parcels. And then staff feels that there's adequate room for 2 standard septic systems as required by our zoning ordinance. Maple Lake Improvement District had no comments on the proposed plat. Did have Planning Commission and staff recommended preliminary approval. Planning Commission actually waived their final approval process as long as these conditions were satisfied. That the plat indicate that wetland areas throughout the plat were not delineated, but the National Water Inventory maps were used to determine that there wasn't any wetlands on it. So we want that on the plat, that it wasn't that that Widseth that prepared, I think it was Pribula that prepared the plat. No, it was Widseth. So they prepared the plat without doing a full extensive wetland delineation. So just have that on the plat, and then also a couple conditions. Any covenants would need to get reviewed by the county. He's not planning on having any covenants. If the developer should disturb more than 1 acre, they must secure that state permit through the MPCA. No building permits will be issued until the final plat approval. As well as the final plat is recorded, and then within 6 months of the preliminary plat approval, they shall prepare the final plat and then record that.
So,
But this is what I could see happening here. Somebody in the lakeside is gonna buy that first triangle. Somebody along the lake, they're gonna buy that. Then they're gonna sell half of it to the next door neighbor. Now it's gonna be two. Is that legal? Is that gonna be possible?
They would have to replat it. They'd
That's
have to
what I
go
mean.
through the same process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Rather than doing 10 per one, you know what I mean?
they would, the only way to subdivide them further would be them to match their front lots perfectly with property lot lines and then be over 15,000 square feet.
Yeah,
Because
there
we
would
had-
only be one or two people maybe.
Yeah, we
That would
had
affect-
that conversation and it would only gain about 2 lots.
That's what I'm saying. It would only affect two people.
Because you to match these front lots is where it becomes difficult because the angles are different.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the only person that would build on that little triangle would be somebody who wants it for a back lot.
Most likely, yeah. Most likely. These are getting marketed really hard to these people.
Yep, they're gonna be.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm asking that, because I'm pretty sure since they can't make them into little individual ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it would be a good idea for these front lot owners to actually purchase this because there are some pretty tight lots out there. And if their sewer fails,
Yep.
probably going on a holding tank. So,
All right. That's my question.
yep.
So we're on the same page.
They were already marketed. They had an auction, but nobody really bid. I think
Yeah, because
the price tag was a little too high. So
yeah, well, it's the way life is. I move.
it is. So just looking for a motion for preliminary plat approval with those conditions.
I did. So
Okay, so Paul made a motion,
Second.
seconded by Gary. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, on to some really good news. So, about a month, well, probably a month and a half ago, we had a loader malfunction. Our backup loader, where our other one was getting serviced, had a little runaway in the engine, and we had fire department deployed out there. We didn't have any damages other than the loader. Loader had, well, its lifespan was pretty much up. It was a 1998 IT4 front end loader. So we didn't know how many hours it had. It lost track of how many hours it actually kept. So it was our backup piece of equipment. Been working with CAT, was working with MCIT. They thought possibly that we could do a claim if it had enough fire damage. The damage was the engine malfunction, so they're not. We've already got the letter that they are not covering any of the damages, which was kind of what we all expected in our department anyway. But long story short, we are in need of a backup front end loader. And when I say backup, I guess this will give us some options to operate 2 front end loaders with reliability. Our other machine was just in a pinch when our other one was getting serviced. We do have a 930M front end loader out there with just under 10,000 hours on it. So this one that we got a quote for from CAT actually had 3,900 hours on it. It was a machine that was used by CHS in southern Minnesota, loading pallets and whatnot. I did have them send a quote over with just over 3,900 hours and a 3-year 500-hour powertrain extended warranty. They do need some swapping and coupling of attachments for us to be able to use it, but that wasn't going to be an issue. Lead time's probably about 2 to 3 weeks. This again coming from just a one owner 2023 Cat 914 wheeled loader. We also got a quote to repair our loader, and I believe I attached that in here, which was, our backup loader would have been $51,891. And that would have been to do all this service work. And some of this was, a little bit of the flushing and those types of things were just standard stuff that they saw, well, we need to do. But to basically, they've told me to get it operational. That's what the price tag would be. It's got a cracked windshield. It also has a steering column that is wavering a little bit. So that's why I had them quote me for there's MCIT's letter that they're not covering anything, which was to be expected. But my recommendation is we go with this used piece of equipment. Our 930's been a good machine, but as you creep up in hours, that thing's winging around our lot all day, every day that we're open. So my recommendation, budget-wise, this just pushes a couple of other projects that we probably just hold off until next year with some concrete improvements we have in our solid waste planning budget and transfer station budget. Obviously the loader gets used for recycling, so score money in that budget. We got about 3 budgets that we're gonna pull some, just move some money around to help. It's in the budget. We just gotta do some other projects next year instead. So, looking for a motion to approve, unless there's questions, a new, used 2023 wheeled front end loader from Ziegler Cat Dealership in Crookston here for $87,440.
So, Jake, the fire department was called, it was on fire.
Yeah, it was smoking. There was no flame, but basically the engine ran away, so there was flame within the engine compartment. They were dispatched. They had the hose ready to just take it on, and then it went out.
Okay.
So
it wasn't on fire.
There was no flame. The flame was within the engine compartment itself.
Because if fire department was called and fire damage is a covered peril under our insurance policy, that this should be worth an appeal to MCIT anyways.
What I was told with who I was working with MCIT, Shane, is that it would be no different than your engine blowing up on the highway and there being some smoke coming out of your radiator or something. Because I actually got a letter from Ziegler that said the damages to the engine were not fire damage. It was that the engine ran away from basically it getting stuck wide open while it was just sitting there.
Did the adjuster agree with that?
The adjuster agreed with it. He came out, he took pictures. I met with him for a good hour the one day. And he said sometimes they do and sometimes it's not just fire damage. The fire department sent a report as well that there wasn't flame, that it seemed like it was all within the engine compartment. And so, engine failure isn't covered.
No.
So that's where we kind of always scratch our head going, do we even put this in as a claim? Because I'm driving down the highway and my truck all of a sudden just goes pop and it even starts on fire. My insurance is not going to cover anything. They're going to go, it was engine malfunction and we don't cover that. So we didn't have a warranty. It was just a 25-year-old loader,
It was just the way I read it was the fire department was called out to put out a fire. And then when I read that, I believe it was the service manager from Ziegler or something said that it would be really hard to have a fire or claim on this case. To me, I just pictured it as it wouldn't be fair to put that responsibility on him to make that call. That it wasn't a fire, but if the insurance adjuster was, I just didn't read that there was an insurance adjuster that came out.
Yeah, there was an adjuster that looked over everything as well. And basically the fire department, when they were there, we dispatched them because obviously the loader was inside our recycle building. So if there had been flame, want to put that out right away because that's where our waste oil, our oil filter crusher is, and it would have been really bad. We would have had a big MCIT claim. But Shane agreed with the adjuster. He's going off everything the adjuster sends him, and I put that email in from Mark from Ziegler because that basically said we had an engine failure is what it really was amounted to.
Mhm. Yeah, so like the smoke and the flame, interior flame was second, you know, it wasn't the initial cause.
Was it poor maintenance that got us to this?
Well, I mean, the loader was just past its life. We didn't send this over to CAT to get serviced regularly like we do our new 930. Like this one will. That 3-year, this will be included in a maintenance package. They'll come service it at hour intervals. So we do that now with our newer loader. Now we've always done it. That's a 2018 loader. So
And this isn't something that we just recently put tires on either, is it?
no. No, we asked if they could swap the tires. We're gonna have to get foam filled tires because our tires can't just be air. We run over something, they go
They'd be
boom.
popping all the time.
We foam fill them. We'll have a little bit that we'll need to do on this loader, but it's gonna be ready to be hooked up to bins, right? I mean, all our attachments have the same coupler.
Mhm.
It's not an issue for them to take the fusion coupler off this and put the new one on. That's in the quote.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, okay.
other than foam filling the tires on this thing, it's ready to go for us. So
Okay.
Well, that would just be my question, is the old one, the one that blew up, didn't have a regular maintenance schedule for a reason, because it was 25 years old. We had it for 25 years.
we did the maintenance on things, but we're not mechanics. We're not having the guys fix
But
things
the new
inside
ones,
the
the ones we have now do have regular maintenance schedules. They go to the shop from regular maintenance.
Yep.
Not done by us.
Not done by us.
They
Other
have an
than
inspection program.
Yep. Other than us doing a little greasing work and
Sure.
pouring definite and doing that.
But
We have regular maintenance with Ziegler.
they do. Okay, I was gonna say, do they have like a yearly inspection where you can run it through?
Yeah, it's a 500-hour inspection
Yep.
on our 930M.
How many hours are they getting here? Just out of curiosity.
Well, we got a 2018 and we're just pushing 10,000 hours here.
Good jag.
So we're pushing her hard.
1,200.
Gets worked hard.
So in 3 years, this one will update the power or the maintenance agreement.
Yeah, we'll pull another 3-year.
Okay. That's all I'm
We
asking.
like it, We're pulling that for in case something happens like just did.
Right.
To prevent this from happening.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, just
And
making
then
sure.
it'd be all covered under that extended warranty.
All
I
right.
don't know if I included what that. Yeah, here. it
I'm
is.
not don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for an extended warranty after this one. I'm asking for a maintenance program.
Oh yeah. Yep. So they're 500-hour maintenance program. Yep.
Okay.
Once
We'll
they hit,
continue that.
we'll just
past
continue
this 3
that.
years is what. And we do that on our current 2018 model is the current
Yep.
primary.
We
call
just
it?
signed a new contract with
Okay.
Ziegler to
All right.
perform 500-hour services
All right.
regularly.
Is
They do
there
a little different on 1,000. Like 500's a check everything, do everything that is
Sure.
more checking. 1,000 is we change this, we change that, we do this. We're just gonna come up on one and we need a backup. When we were scratching around at the industrial park going, who's got a loader we can borrow if ours goes down?
and that's a turnkey price delivered.
Deliveries in there. Everything other than us foam filling the tires is included in
And they're going to give you $6,300 for the other one.
which is basically a metal paperweight right now.
Yeah, I understand.
But it's their problem.
It's their.
Not
They're
Jake's
it's
problem.
sitting on their lot right now. They've already hauled it over, so we had some. We probably could have got 7,500 if we would have threw it on a metal scrapper or something. There's a lot of metal on there. It's
And
heavy.
we're paying people to go through all
Yeah.
that. It's
Not doing that.
Yeah.
I've already been called on it. You want to sell it? Nope. I'm trading it in. Or that's the plan. That's my recommendation, that we trade it.
Okay.
I just want to make sure. I wasn't under the understanding that the adjuster agreed with everything. I wasn't second guessing
Yeah.
you. I was just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah.
you know, if it was a possibility to appeal this and use our insurance, that we explored all those options. But it sounds like all those bases have been covered. And like I say, I want to make sure you know I wasn't dumb.
Mhm.
No, we see the adjuster was working with MCIT and Ziegler. I called him and emailed him a couple times, and he basically said, well, I want to work with MCIT. I know them. They're the ones that called and employ him. Super. And Shane can work with me with MCIT.
Yeah.
So then I got my letter that, you know.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion that we purchased the 2023 for the dollar amount quoted.
Okay, Ross made a motion,
Second.
seconded by Gary. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, now on to septic grant applications that we received. Gonna jump ahead just a little bit and point out some of the things before we start. Oh, those are bids. And that's probably gonna screw our view up for all these other ones, so. Yep, here it is. So, we received 6 applications for our septic grant program. These applicants, basically as a staff, we go through where they are, what are they failing from, factoring in all the things, and we kind of just rank them based on need, based on where are we protecting surface waters, and then what type of failure do they have. Some systems we don't have surfacing on the ground, they're just more functionally failing. They need to pump their tank a heck of a lot more than they should be or have in the past. Some are literally pipes that just go to the drop off, you know. So those types of things are all factored into our application program. We do not star those that apply multiple years. You know, it's all based on what we get for applications before we have our deadline set for these in our septic program. So the only reason I go over that is that staff ranks these to recommend to the board which ones we feel we need to fix, because we only have a limited amount of money to fix septics. Yes, we would like to fix every septic we get an application in on, but we have been discussing with the others the possibility of going through our loan program. So this program is a grant program that the county either covers 80% or 60% of the system. The 20 to 40% of the remaining cost. And it's all based on 20 to 40% is their portion. The applicants must pay depending on where their adjusted gross household income is. So the first one that we have that we're recommending approval is an application we received for John Brueggemann. He lives near the city of Erskine in Woodside Township, section 23, aforementioned parcel. And he qualifies for 60% grant funding allocation. The system is failing to meet soil separation, and the tank is, the lid's collapsed on his tank. So see that as a failure, an imminent public health threat, needs to be fixed. When you're having lids collapsed and, you know, if you have kids, that's not a good situation. Some pertinent things on here. The blacked out portions are emails. We had some issues with that. We've checked property taxes have been paid, estimate market values, meeting our threshold. He is near lake, and so we are protecting the water body as well. This would be what we would want to have a contractor install. This is something we put together now, staff at our environmental services. What we're seeing and how we meet all setbacks, we send them out bid packets now. Hey, if you want to bid on this, we tell you go visit the site, do soils yourself, but this is what we're seeing. If a contractor bids on this and wants to do something completely different, we just work with the contractor on redesign and what they need to do on that. So we're not designing it. We're just saying this is what our plan would be to meet all setbacks. Questions on any of these? I guess our total reserve for this program, we had a little carryover, is $33,462.80. That's for what we received a little over $27,000 this year for our septic fix-up program. Historically, we get him anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 to run this program from the MPCA.
So we just divide that by 3 and.
Well, what we do is we have a limit on the application process of we're not chipping in any more than $12,000 on any given septic system. So we cap it off. Anything over that is covered by the homeowner because we're seeing system costs go up and up and up for materials. If we didn't, we would be paying, because this particular individual installer that quoted us at $15,000 was Jeremy Canott, and 60% of that is $9,000. So the homeowner would be responsible for $6,000. We would have after that, the remainder of our funding, we'd just kick the can down the road to the next application, to the next one. So, but we cap it at 12,000. That number that we kick in will never be higher than $12,000. That's just kind of so that we say, well, we can't fix one sewer for $26,000, if we had to do something very extreme. And we've had that 12,000 cap in place for probably 5 years.
Should that be adjusted for inflation?
Only if we would receive more money. I think the goal should be to fix or help fix as many of these septics as we can with the funding we get. If we jumped it up to, I won't even know the number. I mean, we could jump it up to 18,000 and fix, well, we'd only fix one this year then, so the other one would be the remainder, But it depends on the site. How far do we need to do? Are they directional boring things? We have it spelled out. We can't replumb your whole house if something's going wonky where your plumbing comes out the lake side. We need it to go out the other. You got to get a plumber to get that out there.
Well, the price has definitely gone down a lot.
Yeah. Yes, it has.
I just put a brand new one in at my house. How long ago did I build my house?
Yep.
And it was half that. Brand new.
Granted, a little bit different system than this. This is for, a mountain septic system.
I understand.
Yeah.
You get in the sites where the soils aren't so good, then But those are the systems you're routinely seeing failing in imminent public health threats is they aren't able to take on water, right? Like spring runoff, fall when you get heavy rains, just load up and then freeze, or load up and they're just so saturated they can't do nothing.
Yeah.
The drain field's backing into a tank that then gets so much pressure it goes into the house. Things can happen.
We need a motion for each one.
Yeah, I'd like to go through these
Each one
individually.
is different, so what happens with their old system then?
Just gets abandoned, pumped out, and if it's an old concrete tank, it gets crushed. If it's a steel barrel, it gets moved off site, excavated. But if it's concrete, it typically is just crushed and then they fill it.
So is that included in the bids?
Yes,
Okay.
septic abandonment has to be included in the bid.
Okay, I'd never thought of that before until just
But
now.
they don't
so.
dig out the drain field that's there. They don't dig out, like, they're not
Mhm.
digging out old pipes or anything. It's just,
The
No.
building or the tank.
yeah,
Yeah,
make,
'cause I mean,
make
that
it
could
so
be a
the tank and where
collapse.
the
Yeah.
solids are is taken out and then
Mhm. Yeah, okay.
abandon it.
Okay, so, need a motion for the first, septic system for Bruggeman.
So move.
Ross,
Second.
seconded by Paul. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, moving on to the next one. And like I said, we're working with the other applicants on that list that I started my board time with to explore loans. So those loans are 10-year paybacks on their taxes, and we're looking at using our remainder. So of that $33,462, we're going to be looking at giving them each, if all three of them wanted to do it, $1,500 out of the pot of money there for fix up as an incentive to fix their septic. So, but this application, that the second one that we're looking at for recommending approval today, Michelle Carview, and her site is extremely limited. She's on a coulee south of East Grand Forks. The site is in the floodplain, so it must have anti-backflows so it doesn't hydraulically load and pressurize and shoot it back into the house. But right now her system is an imminent public health threat, probably making the coulee a little greener than it should. But this is a proposal to fix that septic system on a very limited site. That coulee's literally right here, wrapping around her property. There's a township road that runs right here. Really, this is the only spot we got left. Bids that we got in on this, so pretty competitive bid here on this Carview one. Right now, the tank is actually sitting underneath an addition that was done on the house many years ago. So abandonment of that tank, Joan, is going to be fill it with concrete, which we've double checked that each one of these have some money put in on that on their bids. So, and then the other thing I'll state is that this would be 60%, falls into the adjusted gross income of 60% grant allocation. We did factor in that Michelle lives there with her 2 adult children. All the income of the household is factored in to base that on the 60%. So we're recommending approving the award for this septic fix-up. Michelle Carview to have Cruise Backhoe Service install the septic system at the low bid of $15,865.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Gary and Warren. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, on our last one for income-based septic fix-up services would be Richard Durand, lives near the city of East Grand Forks in Esther Township, section 36. Has met all the criteria for 60% grant allocation. Going through this site, the existing tank, basically the existing tank is plumbed out to a system that is above ground called the pump system with no discharge area. So basically just pumped onto the ground, which we told them you can't do. You have to have a pumper come in, but it's just because it's functionally failing. The drain field is plugged. It doesn't take on any water. So now it's basically a holding tank on a house. So is an imminent public health threat the way it's set up, but it also backs up into the house and has in the past. I'll go through the bids on this one. It's going to be a little bit larger mound system, 2 feet instead of 1 foot of sand, Lowest bidder that we received was Jeremy Canott by, what is it, $50. One thing I will note on here is that Mr. Canott gave us a bid and did include electrical as well. He puts in like $500 for electrical work. He works with one individual, and so the bid difference was a little bit more than that when we factored in one put in for electric and one didn't. So we have to juggle what they're putting in for. But the lowest bidder was Jeremy's septic and excavation, Jeremy Canott, who was the low bidder at $16,950.
Okay, so looking for a motion to approve this one.
So move.
Second.
Ross and Warren, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, moving on. Unless you don't want to. This one was just thrown at me last minute. I haven't really had a chance to talk to the city of Fosston all that much. We received a letter, basically a memo from a consulting company that they're looking at setting up the new airport zoning district. It is their recommendation that they set and create a joint airport zoning board. And so the city was reaching out and wanted to establish a joint zoning board. City of Fosston, county, this would basically be a zoning process that they would start to redo what I think their maps were done 79. It's in here somewhere. But basically they want to do special zoning around the airport. They need to set up this. We've seen the city of Crookston. I was a part of that one. City of Fertile had a joint airport zoning board. And really how zoning works there is their zoning is a little bit different for a proximity from the actual runways. So they're zoning based on height. Whereas we have those rules, but you got rules to put towers in or do something that could affect an airport. And so they're basically looking at setting this joint zoning board up to evaluate development around the city of Fosston's airport. It allows them then to seek federal funding if they would have a joint zoning board. So they can seek for improvements, they can do some other things. And so that's why they're looking at doing this. So they would like the county to participate. Kind of asked them, do you just want to do your own city? They want us to participate. So I anticipate I'll be on another joint powers board or joint zoning board. Yeah, their maps were approved. It looks like their airport zoning ordinance. I don't even know if they're maps. I haven't reviewed any other stuff they have currently. Were approved in 1978, and obviously things have changed since 1978. So really, I think so. Maybe
The speed of which they can enter?
yeah, maybe. Maybe size of the aircraft.
Maybe.
I don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did change the direction or the location of the one for the runway last year or the year before.
This one will be interesting to see how, the industrial park is real close to the airport.
Yeah.
Even our smokestack there at the incinerator and things. I don't think it's an issue. It's just a matter of lighting and those types of things as you have more aircraft or try to manipulate how they come in. And
Yeah, because I mean the airport is just right in between. It's got the industrial park and then it's got the golf course, and then there's the lake, and so it's just a lot of things along there.
So what we really got from the city of Fosston was the resolution that they want to zone and do that. And so that's what was submitted to us. Is there's that resolution of creating that joint airport zoning board. So it's really a formality of things to come. You know, they have to then start working with this consultant. You know, there's language in there if no action by us. 60 days, they're gonna do it anyway. So we're kind of a formality. They can
Do
do
we
it.
have to make any action on this today?
Yeah, I'm looking for a motion to approve that resolution for the creation
Is that
of
what you're
Foster.
recommending?
Yeah,
So then
I
move.
recommend.
I move.
Okay,
I'll second.
Paul and Ross,
You don't have to convince me that hard.
any other discussion?
Yeah,
Looks like we also need to appoint 2 representatives. for the resolutions.
so
Mm,
appointing people to the board is one thing that is probably the most difficult.
mhm.
I can think of two now.
I can think of one right now.
I got one in mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I got
It can't be any one of you, or I'd recommend that you or you or you.
Well, we have one
But-
right there that's,
Well,
No,
Can't be commissioners.
Yeah,
it cannot be a commissioner.
but after the first of the year, I could.
right. So
How I don't think that they would have anything real crazy going on until the wheels start turning on this thing.
right.
These take a while.
Mhm,
That was a part
mhm.
of the city of Crookston's for like 2 years, you know, and they have a lot of planes going in and out of the city of Crookston's. I don't know anything about the city of Foster.
So if we have you for starters, that's good.
Yeah, I can. Yeah,
And then
I'll
we'll play with it till we get the next one.
Yeah, they're requesting 2, but we certainly can just tell her we
Well,
have to seek candidates. When did we get this? Like last week,
yeah,
Wednesday.
I mean,
I don't
it's-
think anybody has anybody that they can just go, okay, I'll call this person and they'll jump on it.
Who do we have?
But you can recommend
Who do we have on fertiles?
me, and then
Brian.
no, it was the former HR director that was here for a couple of years and moved
Nate.
on to Nate.
It's not an
Um,
onerous task.
No,
Do we need to make?
it's
I mean,
attending.
we need a motion or?
Yeah,
Well-
I mean,
can we just take that part out of the resolution for now?
you could reword it as the Polk County will elect 2 or
Mhm.
appoint.
Will appoint.
Will
appoint
appoint
2
2 representatives to
representatives.
serve on the board.
Yeah.
Mhm,
I think that's an issue. We just kind of have to have some time to figure out who the 2 are going to be.
mhm, mhm.
And it should be somebody from that area.
Well, yeah,
Would be an
I
obvious
can-
one, but
Be on it. Yeah.
yeah, if you have 2 meetings in a year, it'd be.
But it said no commissioners.
There's no commission.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
But we can
Commissioner.
find somebody.
mhm.
Then there would just be 1 representative from
Mhm.
Polk
Yeah.
County.
I was thinking fertile.
If nobody
Right.
wants to be on, what are they going to do? We just have 1 representative from
Mhm,
Polk
mhm.
County.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And like I said, I mean, that's if we're really desperate,
After January 1st, we know somebody.
Mhm.
Time on our
I mean,
With extra time on her hands.
I didn't read anything that prohibits Polk County staff from being involved in
Just
it.
some places
It's
said it.
just
no,
commissioners
Yeah.
that cannot.
Well, yeah, I mean, it should be staff because when you're talking about zoning, it's.
You need somebody that knows what the zoning.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
just
Generally,
kind
you
of-
don't want staff on appointed these things. If
Right.
They're voting, no offense, but I mean,
or recommending, I guess, a bunch of stuff. But
how is ex officio help?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
This
Yeah, I
isn't
mean,
the most
just-
complicated thing in the world. This is pretty normal. So,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
thing that really how these kind of boil down to is you're going to set up how are we going to issue permits in that zone, which would be our department that needs to be a liaison between the city of Foston now when we're this proximity from the airport.
Mhm.
So then we just typically have that permit go to the city for them to sign off on and say, yes, it meets our. It's not us saying we're taking over zoning of the airport.
Mm-mm.
Right, but is
we're
the
gonna do
zone,
our
is the
rules.
airport in the county or is it in the
It's in the
city?
county. It's in the
Mhm.
county.
Yeah, so then we still have to do that.
We still do the zoning,
Yes,
Mhm.
but right now there's no specialty rules
right,
for height.
right.
Mhm.
And so think of an airport as a big college stadium. That's how it works, is the further you get out, the higher they'll allow you to build. Well, then we have our height limitations, so at one point, you get so far away from the runway, it really doesn't matter. You
Right.
can't issue that permit for a 50-foot house without going
Right.
through a variance anyway, or 50-foot egg shop or something,
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So just change the wording for that part of the resolution that we will appoint.
Well, you can appoint me, and then you'll do a second representative later.
Yeah.
If you want to do, I don't.
Yep,
I'm
let's
not-
do it that way.
I'll go to the meeting because I have to anyway. So I need to know what's going on.
Makes sense.
I know you said you generally don't want that, but in this case,
This is the third one I'll be appointed to.
Yeah.
The city of Crookston's, the city of Fertles,
Turtles
and
in this.
It's like these one watershed, one plans.
yeah, I just get thrown into them. Which I missed the meeting this morning. 'cause of
Okay,
county board.
so Paul and Ross made the motion, so both of you are okay with
Yes,
the wording change?
yep,
yes.
Okay. Okay, so any more discussion?
no,
All those in favor, say aye.
aye,
Opposed? Carried.
Oh, I can be brief on this next one. All right. RFP is going out in the papers tomorrow. And there's a 208-page document. That's all the specs of the building that bidders will need to review. We're having a pre-bidding meeting the 21st at the Crookston Transfer Station. Go over if they have questions, about how to do this, how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually at the site last Thursday, and we have some common wall issues that we're going to need to do some special stuff there with.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was going to be clean, easy,
Mm-mm.
and some of the roof trusses are actually sitting on the old part of the wall. So we got a good plan. It's not going to be crazy. It's just a matter of keeping that private business protected while we're doing it is going to be kind of the biggest scope of that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The rest is going to go down very quick.
Mm-hmm.
208 pages is gonna produce a lot of dollars.
Yes, yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and that was, because McIntosh then also had, a school reunion this weekend with the 250th celebration. And so I was at Mark's and, there was some discussion on the school and everything and, the demolition. And I had, I told, because some of them still live, in the area and stuff. And I said, I don't think that people understand when the county gets these tax forfeited properties, that the cleanup and demolition totally is taxpayer expense. There's no grants. There's nothing that you can money to help with these, so I mean, like you said earlier, that the engineer gave a window between 250,000 and $1 million. Well, $1 million is a lot. And just people need to understand that. So, it's easy for somebody to just walk away from a property and it's like, well, I don't care. But so.
Yep, and it happens a lot more with residential properties.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have this dollar figure. There's a list, quite extensive list that
Mm-hmm.
are residence ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Once nobody's living in them for 3 years, there's no
Well,
there's no saving.
I do know that there is a possibility of a sale of one tax forfeited.
Yeah, we and Sam have been working with attorney's office and getting a little bit more swifter turnaround and to sell some of these as is, so that there's a potential. There's always two sides to the story, but there's a potential where we can just list them and do auctions and kind of work with a online auctioneer and have that done a little swifter, because they sit vacant. They're done. Then they're tear downs.
Yep.
And even if that's somebody's plan, you know, there's some that a neighboring residence might just buy it, tear it down. So we're trying to streamline that. It's been caught up obviously with that Hennepin County lawsuit that went bonkers.
Yeah.
None of our residential ones are worth all that much, and none of our commercial ones are either. They would already be resold.
No, but yeah, and it's, because I think we need to touch base again sometime here, because there was another idea that was thrown out over the weekend. So
Regarding not tearing it down?
No.
That's all I need to know.
No,
Continue with the
after,
RFPs
yes.
and get some bids in.
Yep, after the tear down. So.
That's all I needed to know then.
Yep. So.
We'll know more after those meetings. We just hope we get some good bids and that they're willing to do the work, because there's a lot of money that's going to go into it.
Yep.
But if we got a good plan, all the documents that we got from Smavy's Auto about his building and all the stuff I got from the McIntosh Heritage Center, that was all good info. So it's all in the documents.
Yep.
We did retrieve some asbestos abatement that the project got pulled because probably they didn't want to fund it. The person that owned it formerly, but it did identify where we're needing to pay real close attention to, and that's the boiler room and kitchen area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
the
makes
rest has
sense.
been pulled out. There's not.
That's, I kind of had figured that, because I knew a lot of it had been just, gutted. So, well, that's one good thing.
That's why structurally it probably failed. Whatever. That's all I got.
Okay.
On 102.
Okay.
We need to do something about that.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, I'm out of here.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Hearing about it.
Yeah. It's been
Thank you.
Okay, Elisa.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Save the last here.
Hmm?
Last one.
I thought you said say the best for last.
Oh, that too, I guess, right? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, this morning here, I'm here to talk to you guys about approval for a third-party administrator to align more with our best practices throughout the state for COBRA implementation.
Elisa, can you scroll down?
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Here we go. So what we're looking at is a contract to implement COBRA with WEX to help with just all changing rules and regulations as it relates to COBRA coverage for all of our retirees. Back when we started the payroll transition with UKG, Abdo had advised us the sooner we could transition to a third-party administrator for COBRA, the better. They highly recommend that. We have been self-administering COBRA for some years within the county. So as we were transitioning and making the payroll transition with UKG, we initially thought that UKG could help us with the ongoing implementation of COBRA coverage for retirees, so medical, dental, vision, and life insurance. However, there were some unforeseen roadblocks with UKG because they follow the federal program of 18-month coverage and don't adhere to the Minnesota continuation coverage, which is indefinitely if you're a retiree. So we've started looking at other options, and WEX is able to do that for the county. So as you know, we currently utilize WEX for all of our Viva accounts, HSA accounts. With this transition, WEX would help with all the direct billing of our retirees versus that being handled in-house. So currently, any retirees that are participating within COBRA coverage are sending in payments monthly. That's being, money is taken in and then deposited, and we're accounting for all of that manually. This is something that WEX is able to do through payments through WEX transitioning to the county. They can submit payments, retirees will be able to submit payments through a mobile app or through their portal, which is your login account. So they'll have like a separate account that they'll be able to access. Like when you go in to see your balances, your Viva balances, there would be another type of sign in for COBRA retirees. And really, it's just to help lower our compliance risk, right? Helps our current retirees answer questions. If they have anything, WEX would be our point of contact with that. So streamlines the communication and cost effectiveness. Questions, anything I maybe didn't touch or that you have questions about?
I didn't realize you could continue COBRA indefinitely if you were a retiree.
In the state of Minnesota only, so there's certain local government employees that are able to, through the Minnesota continuation, which is a Minnesota law statute.
Just Minnesota.
Correct. Well, I don't know if it's just Minnesota, but it applies to certain. Now that's not all private.
Sure.
You know, employers, but within government, local government, federal government, there's the Minnesota continuation process. So we do have retirees out there that have COBRA for longer than 18 months. In fact, we have quite a few that are doing that with certain, you know, like say they retired.
Sure.
Yep.
It's a good option.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive, but it's a good option.
But if it's their only alternative and they can't, you know, but the one thing about WEX that they'll also do is help that retiree maybe look for out on the marketplace a cheaper alternative option than what the county is offering even. So they'll also help every year as our benefits change, you know, as every year rates continually go up or the county may switch benefit plans. They'll assist with that ongoing communication to the retiree as well.
Can I ask a couple questions?
You sure can.
As I'm one of those retirees.
Yes, you sure can. Please do.
How many of us are actually COBRA?
I have 25 retirees that are COBRA-ing.
Okay.
And when you say that, as far as specific medical, dental, or vision.
Well, and I know it could be any of them.
Sure. Yep.
And I only do 2 of them currently now.
Sure. And that's not just employee, it can be spouse.
Yep.
As well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there going to be a charge to cover the fees for WEX back to those retirees?
Not to the retirees.
Okay.
But there obviously, as any new process or when
there'll be a charge.
There'll be an administrative charge to the county. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then my other question is, you're here getting approval today, but I got a letter dated July 1st saying this has been approved and it's going forth August 1st.
So the letter was additional communication that was sent out in the event that this was going to be approved. This is something, Shelley, that we have been looking at since January, to be quite honest. Okay. So yes, you did receive a letter. You're correct. We are trying to be proactive in our approach to our retirees, so they're aware.
You know, it says we're doing this, but yet you haven't gotten approval. So that's why I was asking.
Sure. Thanks.
And there was nothing in here about fees or anything, so I wanted clarification.
Yep. As far as fees to the employee, that's nothing that I am aware of. There's no fees in our proposal that they have sent to the county.
Okay. So then anything that we currently carry, if we should decide to drop, do we do it through WEX or do we have to come back through the county?
You would do it as long as we transition August 1st, you would do it through WEX.
WEX would do anything. We don't come to you for anything. It's all through WEX.
We would terminate the coverage in our system, which would then feed to WEX.
So it's whatever. But
there's still communication with the employer to WEX, which then gets the file feed that employee has dropping. And if we don't receive payment on time, WEX is communicating with the employer.
Okay.
But yes, there's communication still between county employee and Flex.
Okay,
Yep.
so like when negotiations happen or
Yep.
renewals,
Yep.
and
next
it's a
year.
rate change, is that coming through WEX or through you, information, WEX?
In the future will come through Wex.
Okay.
Yep.
Just so I kind of understand
Yep.
what's gonna happen.
Yep.
So,
Anything else?
no, I don't think so.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions?
You scroll down here, method,
Yeah.
action.
So this is just kind of a high level overview with what WEX will be doing, sending out general rights notices, the specific right notices when an employee terminates, they'll receive within 14 days the specific rights that they're eligible for. They'll help with open enrollment plan notices. We've got different types of experiences for the retiree. The end user will see mobile and what they can apply or view their account online or through the mobile app. Retirees are able to submit a one-time ACH payment. They can set up through credit card, reoccurring payments. They can submit a year's worth of payments in advance if they choose to pay once they know what their rate is for the year. Come January 1st, they're able to do that. It's additional, of course, all of the different reports that we would have access to. Accounting would be able to see, we'd have reports so that we could reconcile payments that came in and make sure that we received those payments and into our accounts. So that's definitely very helpful. Marketplace, again, like where employees can go out and look for more cost-effective plans if they choose to leave. Again, at the end here, there was a fee schedule. 75 cents per covered employee. So we're roughly looking at around $200 a month for maintenance, administrative maintenance. So 75 cents for a minimum of $75, but we have over that, of course, because we have such a large employee base. And then if you were going to be continuing your coverage ongoing, like the management of that for Minnesota coverage. So it's a $425 per month per retiree. But anybody under 18 months, this is active employees, and then this would be, anybody who's COBRAing longer than 18 months and then up to 18 months. And some folks don't COBRA 18 months, right? They might just be on it because they're in transition. Their new job benefits don't kick in until, 2 months after the fact that they leave the county. So
it'll be a changing number.
correct. It will be. And if I could look in, correct. Yeah. And when you look at Polk County's employee retirement, I guess, timeline, we have a large group approaching that time frame. So I would anticipate there be
So right now, today,
more.
it'll be about $200 a month cost to the county and no cost to retirees.
No. That's just administration, and it's $200 for all active employees right now. So they're creating that file so that in the event that they do retire in the future or they terminate, they leave, that's the cost. That's the cost to have that so that the new hire is informed of their rights. And then when they exit or they separate from the county, they're given more specific notification as to what they are entitled to.
Real savings is in the amount of time.
The cost effectiveness. It's not just HR. We have multiple people that's dealing with this type of data on a monthly basis. So it's not just it's HR. It's also accounting. It's also processing the payments, the money in, applying it, ensuring that it's going where it needs to be.
So the only change is retirees will be going through WEX,
Correct.
not the county.
And yes, the county side. Oh, correct.
I'm sure we'll want to know how it's going.
Right.
I just like what you brought up. I mean, is this going to cost?
Yep.
And how's this going to go? So.
And as far as I know, Shelley, what the end user sees on it, I'll be really interested for some feedback on what you see on the end. The portal.
I haven't been on WEX yet this month, so I haven't seen if there's been any change.
No.
But I'll
Yeah.
log in and see what it looks like.
But as far as like Yeah, any of our other accounts through WEX?
I have a Viva and HSA
Yeah.
that I keep track of.
Yeah, yes, right. But any type of administrative fee on the employee end, I don't know where you would see that. You know what I'm like on the like I don't see that
Okay.
so I don't think that there is, but maybe I'm not.
As far as I know, there's no.
Right. This is on the administrative side. Yes, there is on the county side. We pay a fee for WEX to administer all of our VIVAs and HSAs and all of our additional spending accounts. So that's
Yeah.
on the county side, but the employee shouldn't see.
But it's worth that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you all are, may or may not have those accounts set up, but you see. And now the mobile app, you'll be able to log in and make payments through that as well. Some employees like to handwrite checks. I too still am one of those people that like to handwrite checks out. I know that's kind of old school, but I like to hand it and know that feel that it's going somewhere, I guess. But so any other questions, Warren, Gary, Paul? No.
So then we need a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Ross
So second.
and Paul. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have one item.
Oh, goodness.
No. Looking through the mishmash of my notes from the water district meeting, I came across a very important thing that I forgot to mention. But Wilkin County wants to join the organization. And the water district group approved it with the idea that it has to come back to the counties individually to agree to that process. But Wilkin County would pay all expenses involved with joining and have to go through the hearing process and everything else there together. And then through that whole meeting, the administrator of the Red Rock Rural Water District, that's an 8-county organization in southern Minnesota, sat through the whole day and what we're talking about how to get everything set up for the new district. So he was there all day, but everything went well that way. And there's another county our district has been involved in some of this discussion about setting up things too, and that's Lincoln Pipestone Rural Water District, the two of them. But anyway, everything was going just fine. And I forgot to mention, and now I did.
Yeah, I've toured the Red Rock when I was in the Morrow program. One of our seminars was down there, and we had, because for them they're drilling against rocks.
Yes.
So that's their main issue. So anybody have anything else?
No.
It's enough, isn't it?